glass exploded against marble. Dominic Vale didn't flinch as the decanter shattered inches from his face, liquor spraying across the penthouse wall like blood. The woman screamed, clutching her dress to her chest as if the room itself had turned hostile. I can't do this," she stammered, backing toward the door. "There's something wrong. You didn't tell me." "Get out!" Dominic snapped. She didn't wait to be told twice. Her heels clacked across the polished floor, hands shaking as she fumbled the lock. When the door finally slammed behind her, silence rushed in. Thick, humiliating, familiar. Dominic stood there, breathing hard, jaw locked, fists clenched so tight his knuckles burned. Another one gone. Another woman who had walked in, confident, smiling, excited, and walked out afraid. 7. 7 women in less than 3 months. Different excuses every time. A headache, a sudden emergency, a look of confusion that curdled into fear the moment they realized the truth. Dominic dragged a hand down his face and laughed bitterly. The sound echoed in the massive glass room, empty and mocking. You'd think a man who owns half the city wouldn't be so easy to leave, he muttered. The city glittered below him, unaware, obedient, conquered. A soft knock broke the moment. "Boss?" Dominic didn't turn. "If you're here to apologize for my evening, Marcus, don't." Marcus Rook stepped inside anyway, his expression tight. He took in the shattered glass, the wet wall, the open balcony doors. He'd seen this scene too many times to comment. "We've got movement at the harbor," Marcus said. "Kravchenko trucks, 3 of them." No notice. Dominic's jaw tightened. "They're late. They're sending a message." Dominic finally turned, eyes cold. "Everything in this city is my message." Marcus hesitated. "There's more. One of their men turned up dead an hour ago. Shot twice. Dumped in our spillway." Dominic stared at him. Then he laughed again, this time sharp and humorless. "So they're blaming me. That's the plan." Dominic walked past Marcus and grabbed his phone, scrolling through missed calls and unread messages. He stopped when he saw one name. Naomi. He stared at it longer than he should have. 3 days ago, his life had not looked like this. 3 days ago, there had been a crack in the wall he'd built around himself. A dangerous thing called hope. He threw the phone onto the couch. "Clear my schedule," Dominic said. "I'm done pretending tonight matters." Marcus watched him carefully. "You sure? You've been locked up in this tower for weeks. You need air." Dominic poured himself a drink. "Air doesn't fix what's broken." Marcus leaned against the counter. "There's a place." "No." "Dominic." I said no. "It's called the Velvet Crown. Discreet, high-end, no amateurs. You don't even have to touch anyone." Dominic swallowed hard. His grip tightened on the glass. "That's kind of the problem, isn't it?" Marcus softened. "You can't keep punishing yourself for something you didn't choose." Dominic downed the drink. "I chose power. Everything else was collateral." Marcus waited, then said quietly, "Just come. 1 hour. If it's hell, we leave." Dominic stared at the city again, at the empire that bowed to him, but couldn't give him one simple human thing. "Fine," he said. 1 hour. The Velvet Crown pulsed with money and hunger, the kind of place where secrets dissolved under red light and velvet shadows. Men in tailored suits laughed too loudly. Women smiled like weapons. Dominic felt nothing, until he saw her. She wasn't on stage. She wasn't trying to be seen. She stood near the bar, arms folded, eyes scanning the room like she was measuring exits, not wallets. Naomi Brooks. When their eyes met, Something shifted. Not attraction, recognition. She looked at him like she knew what it meant to survive. Dominic approached slowly, ignoring the curious glances. 5 minutes, he said. Just conversation. She arched a brow. You think that's how this works? I think you already know I'm not here for what everyone else wants. She studied him, then nodded once. 5. They talked about nothing at first, then everything. You look like a man who's tired of winning, she said. You look like a woman who doesn't trust smiles, he replied. Her lips twitched. Smart men don't come here for pleasure, and smart women don't stay if they think they're being bought. Silence settled between them, heavy but not uncomfortable. I'll take you to dinner, Dominic said. Tomorrow. Naomi shook her head. I don't get owned. I don't want to own you. She met his gaze. Good. Because I carry protection, and I don't, miss. He smiled faintly. Tomorrow, then. The next night she showed up late. Dominic was already seated, nerves coiled tight. He hadn't been nervous in years. Gunfights didn't do this to him. Boardroom threats didn't either. She did. Dinner was cautious, honest, dangerous in ways violence never was. I'm studying healthcare, Naomi said, trying to get out. Out never really lets go, Dominic replied. She smiled sadly. No, but you keep walking anyway. Halfway through this story, if you're already feeling the tension building, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and drop a comment. It helps more than you think. And trust me, this is only getting darker. Dominic's phone buzzed. Marcus, we've got a traitor. Dominic locked his screen. Across the table, Naomi watched him carefully. You don't live a quiet life. No, he admitted. But I don't lie. She nodded. Then neither will I. 3 days later, everything would be on fire. And this was only the beginning. The emergency meeting ran past dawn. Dominic stood at the head of the table, hands braced against the polished wood, eyes cutting through every man seated there. Captains, enforcers, men who had killed at his word and lived because of his restraint. Say it again, Dominic said calmly. Marcus didn't hesitate. The dead Kravchenko lieutenant was shot with one of our weapons. Serial scrubbed, dumped where we'd be blamed. A murmur rippled through the room. Dominic straightened. Which one of you thought you were smarter than me? No one spoke. Dominic's gaze landed on Elliot Crane. Too still, too quiet. Elliot, Dominic said. Look at me. Elliot did. He lasted 3 seconds before his eyes dropped. That was enough. By the time the sun rose, Elliot was gone, the damage already done. Kravchenko wanted blood, and peace was hanging by a thread thinner than Dominic liked. Normally, this was the part that energized him. Tonight, all he could think about was Naomi. She texted him just after noon. Naomi, you alive? King of secrets? He stared at the message longer than necessary before replying. Dominic, barely. Dinner tonight? Naomi, at my place. Don't laugh. Dominic didn't laugh. Her apartment was small, clean, real, no art curated to impress, no silence screaming wealth, just mismatched plates and a faint smell of garlic and soap. She watched him take it in. Still breathing? I forgot people lived like this, Dominic said honestly. She smirked. People forget a lot when they get rich. She cooked. He sat at the table, sleeves rolled up, watching her move with practiced efficiency. It unsettled him more than danger ever had. You're not afraid of me, he said. She didn't look up. I don't confuse danger with intention. They ate, talked, laughed once, both startled when it happened. I don't want saving, Naomi said suddenly. If that's why you're here, say it now. Dominic shook his head. I don't save people. I just don't abandon them. Her eyes softened, then hardened again. Good. Because I've survived worse than disappointment. That night, when Dominic left, something in him felt anchored. The next morning, Marcus ruined it. He dropped a file onto Dominic's desk without a word. Dominic opened it. Naomi Carter. Murder charge. Georgia. 3 years ago. Dominic's chest tightened. She killed her boyfriend, Marcus said quietly. Case went cold. Warrant disappeared. She vanished. Dominic stared at the photo. Same eyes. Same defiance. Why are you showing me this now? Because Kravchenko already knows, Marcus said. And if they touch her, they'll use her against you. Dominic closed the file slowly. Bring her in. The warehouse was cold and empty, the kind of place truths came to die. Naomi stood in, the center of the floor, arms crossed, chin high. She didn't look scared. She looked prepared. You want to tell me why I'm here? She asked. Dominic slid the file across a crate. Tell me why your name isn't Naomi Brooks. She didn't move. Marcus shifted. Answer him. Naomi laughed once. Bitter. Of course you found it. Dominic's voice was low. Did you kill him? Yes. The word landed hard. Gasps echoed around the room. He was going to kill me first, Naomi continued. He said it would prove loyalty. I believed him. Dominic's jaw tightened. Why didn't you tell me? Because men like you decide who's worth mercy, she snapped. And I was done begging. She stepped closer, eyes blazing. You don't get to judge me from a throne built on bodies. The room went silent. Dominic raised a hand. Get out. All of you. Marcus hesitated. Dom, now. When they were alone, the weight hit them both. Naomi's voice cracked. I don't want to be someone you regret. Dominic swallowed. I don't regret survivors. He took a breath, then spoke the truth he'd never said aloud. There's something wrong with me, he said, physically. Women don't leave because of fear of me. They leave because of what they see. She didn't interrupt. I didn't choose it, he continued, and it doesn't get better. Naomi studied him like a nurse, not a lover. You should have told me. I was afraid, he admitted. She stepped closer. I'm afraid every day. Difference is, I don't run from it. Her hand brushed his. He didn't pull away. If this story is pulling you in right now, tap like, subscribe, and comment what you think Naomi will do next. Your support keeps stories like this at coming. Dominic's phone rang. Marcus. Again. Kravchenko is moving, Marcus said. And Naomi, she's gone. Dominic's blood went cold. By nightfall, a message arrived. Come alone if you want her breathing. Pier 19. Dominic smiled grimly. No one takes what's mine, he said. And he went anyway. Rain slicked the streets as Dominic drove alone toward the harbor, headlights cutting through the darkness like blades. He ignored the convoy trailing him at a distance, ignored Marcus's voice crackling in his ear, ignored every instinct screaming that this was a trap. He'd spent his life walking into worse. Pier 19 loomed ahead, rusted cranes, abandoned containers, the smell of salt and oil hanging thick in the air. Dominic stepped out of the car, coat snapping in the wind, eyes scanning shadows that breathed danger. Naomi, he called. A light flickered. Then a voice. Calm, amused. You came alone. That's good. Dominic turned slowly. Naomi was tied to a chair beneath a hanging floodlight, blood at her temple, jaw set hard with defiance. She lifted her head when she saw him, eyes locking onto his like a lifeline she refused to beg for. Don't, she said immediately. Don't do anything stupid." He smiled faintly. "You met me too late for that." A man stepped forward from the shadows. Tall, Russian accent, thick with mockery. "You should have let her run," the man said. "But hope makes men careless." Dominic's voice was steady. "You want leverage, not bodies." The man laughed. "I want obedience." Naomi spat blood. "You want attention." The man struck her. Dominic's world narrowed to a point of red. "Touch her again," Dominic said softly, "and there will be nothing left of you to bury." The man smiled. "You think you're still in control?" Dominic raised his hands slowly. "You already won." "I came." Naomi shook her head violently. "No!" "I said quiet," the man snapped. Dominic's eyes never left Naomi. "Listen to me," he said. "No matter what happens next, you did not break me." Her breath hitched. The man gestured. "Kill him." Time slowed. A gun cocked, and then sirens wailed in the distance. The man froze. "What is this?" Dominic exhaled. "A deal." Floodlights snapped on. FBI agents poured in from every direction, weapons raised, voices shouting commands. The Russian cursed and bolted. Gunfire erupted. Not loud, not chaotic, but precise and terrifying. Marcus's voice cut through Dominic's earpiece. "Move now!" Dominic rushed to Naomi, cutting her restraints with shaking hands. She collapsed into him, breath ragged. "You called them," she whispered. "I chose survival," he said. They ran. Shots rang out behind them. A bullet grazed Dominic's arm, burning hot. Naomi screamed his name, gripping his coat as they dove behind a container. "You're bleeding," she said. "I've had worse." She laughed breathlessly. "Of course you have." They didn't stop running until they were inside an armored vehicle, doors slamming shut as chaos swallowed the pier. Silence fell heavy. Naomi turned to him slowly. "You traded your empire." He met her gaze. "I traded information. Empires rebuild." "And me?" He swallowed. "I chose you." Her eyes filled, not with tears, but something harder, something earned. If you're still here right now, this is the moment to like the video, subscribe, and comment if you think Dominic made the right choice. The final act is coming, and it changes everything. The safe house was quiet. Too quiet. Naomi sat on the edge of the bed, hands trembling now that adrenaline faded. Dominic watched her, unsure how to bridge the space between them. "You could have walked away," she said finally. "Men like you always do." "I already walked away once," he replied. "From myself." She looked up. "What happens now?" He hesitated. "Enemies don't disappear. They just change tactics." She nodded. "And us?" He stepped closer. "We decide what broken means." She stood, eyes level with his. "I won't be hidden. I won't hide you. And no lies. None." Silence stretched. Then she reached for his hand, not desperate, not afraid. Present. Outside, the city hummed, unaware that two people had just rewritten the rules they lived by. Marcus knocked softly. "We need to move. Kravchenko won't stop." Dominic squeezed Naomi's hand. "Then neither will we." She smiled. "Guess we're in this together." "For better or worse," Dominic said. She arched a brow. "Don't get poetic." He chuckled. "I'll try." But deep down, he knew. The worst was still coming. The city did not forgive easily. Dominic felt it in the way cars followed too long, in the sudden silence of streets that used to bow. Deals paused. Phones rang slower. His name still carried weight, but now it carried questions. Naomi noticed it first. "They're testing you," she said one morning, as she wrapped gauze around his arm. "Predators always do when blood hits the water." Dominic watched her hands. steady and focused. Let them. She looked up. You sound too calm. I'm tired of living like fear is oxygen. She nodded slowly. Good. Because I'm done running. The FBI deal held, for now. Kravchenko lost men, roots, money. But men like him didn't vanish. They adapted. Marcus paced the room that night, jaw tight. We intercepted chatter. There's a price on you. And on her. Naomi didn't flinch. Figures. Dominic's voice hardened. Then we end this. Marcus frowned. You just handed half your leverage to the feds. Dominic met his gaze. I kept the other half. They moved fast. Information leaked. Alliances shifted. Kravchenko's own partners started questioning his leadership. Money dried up. Loyalty cracked. Pressure did what bullets couldn't. The call came at midnight. You think you won? Kravchenko sneered through the speaker. You think love makes you strong. Dominic smiled coldly. No, clarity does. By morning, Kravchenko was gone, arrested, exposed, betrayed by the same men he ruled through fear. The city exhaled. For the first time in years, Dominic slept without dreaming of exits. Naomi lay awake beside him, listening to his breathing, the steady rise and fall that told her he was still here. Still choosing. You know this doesn't make us normal, she said quietly. Dominic turned his head. I don't want normal. She smiled faintly. Good. Weeks passed, slowly, carefully. Naomi returned to school. Dominic returned to work, leaner, sharper, less ruthless where it mattered, and more decisive where it didn't. They argued. They learned. They failed at pretending they weren't damaged, and somehow they built something honest in the cracks. One evening, Naomi stood on the balcony of the penthouse she once would have refused to enter. The city glowed below her. You still think power ruins people? Dominic asked, joining her. I think loneliness does, she replied. Power just gives it a bigger stage. He considered that. Stay. She looked at him. That's not a command. No, he said softly. It's a request. She took his hand. Then yes. Not because he saved her. Not because she healed him. But because they chose each other without illusions. Some nights were hard. His condition didn't disappear. Fear still knocked. Doubt still whispered. But Naomi never looked away. And Dominic never lied again. If you made it all the way to the end of this story, hit like, subscribe to the channel, and comment your thoughts. Tell us, should Dominic and Naomi's story continue? Your support decides what comes next. The city watched them from below, and for once, it did not own them.